Shangshotang under the care of shamans since 1957.
Here are the remnants of a watchtower that stood along the Western Great Wall. Famagu is located just about a kilometer beyond the old boundary. Here is a communal threshing ground. Some of the people have their individual threshing floors. Caves. Over there are the women of the village. They are doing their laundry, washing their clothes. In the early days, the people of my home village, Famagu, all lived in caves that were carved into cliffs of yellow clay. By the time I was born, only one house and 2 huts had been built in this village. The villagers obtained their water from springs that seep forth in the deep ravine. Do you need my help? No. Famagu is my home village. Most of the people lived on the other side of the ravine, but my family and another lived on this side. This is the homestead where I was born in 1957. My father bought this place before he got married. It consisted of 2 caves. He built this wall around our courtyard when I was 4 years old. These are the trees that my father planted. Cadres of the Cultural Revolution accused him of walking the capitalist road by planting too many trees. So reluctantly, he agreed to cut some down. With each stroke of his axe, I heard him speaking curses. He imagined cutting down those cadres who made him do it. In this courtyard, my 2 brothers and I and my 2 sisters grew up. I was the oldest. The opening to our first cave is now half obstructed by a wall. This cave served as a living room and kitchen. The second cave was our bedroom, and years later it was remodeled into a kitchen. There on the right stood the khan, a head-bore clay bed. This was home. It kept us out of the rain. The third cave was added later. Initially, it was used as a storage room. When we prospered a little, and when we could afford a few animals, it was made into a barn. There were a donkey, 3 goats, and 2 sheep. Here stood a typical entrance gate, and at this very spot happened something that brought me under the care of a Yin-Yang shaman. But actually, this story begins over there, at the beehives. My father also had chosen the capitalist road when it came to propagating and selling bees and honey. One summer day, when I was about 10 years old, when my father had gone to the market and my mother was working in the commune fields, my younger brother and I were investigating the beehives. The preceding day, some bees had been swarming, and my father had captured them in a basket. There were 2 queens in that new swarm. He killed one of them, and we boys discovered her body lying on the lid of the incense box in the kitchen. We were curious what a swarm of bees would do with the dead body of her queen. They immediately poured it into the hive to consume. At that moment, I was beginning to feel responsible. If the bees consumed the dead queen, it would be my fault. So my brother and I removed the lid of the hive and rescued the corpse, not without us being generally stunned, of course. Then we faced the problem of replacing the clay lid. It broke. We went to get several spare ones and tried to chip them down to the proper shape and size. Each and every one broke in our hands. That was a serious matter, I thought. I told my brother, now I must die. He asked me, how? I said, I need a rope. We found one. I climbed up the crossbars of the door, tied the end of my rope around the roof beam, and let myself fall into the loop. Then my younger brother panicked. He shouted for help. His cries echoed across the ravine and back to a field above us. A man ran to cut my rope, and someone rode a bicycle to get some medicine. One of the villagers immediately hung a red rooster to the roof beam as a substitute for the demons that had wanted to take me. The next day, a man was sent to fetch a Yin-Yang shaman. He performed a rite of exorcism over me and gave me a charm to wear under my left armpit for protection. By the way, I'm Zhang Zuotang. Several years ago, my American professor and I made plans to visit my home in South Ningxia to study Yin-Yang shamanism together.
Yes, Sultan. This is a significant moment in our research together. We are sitting here by the ruins of what used to be your native home. Do you know approximately what was written on the paper in the charm that you carried under your arm?
Yes, I wore it for at least 100 days. It was intended against the demons who tried to take my life. The charm placed the bearer under the protection of the 3 gods.
Might we be able to ask a Yin-Yang to reproduce such a charm for us? And might he also agree to sing a song that goes with it?
I have already asked, but so far we never have been far enough away from the people to sing such a powerful song. Threatening the demons out of context is like playing with fire. But we will try again. We can try.
Amulets simulated in 2002 and 2003. The Yin-Yang shaman who enacted the healing rite over the boy Zhang Zuotang in 1968 no longer dwells in the young world of the living. Nevertheless, in order to learn a little more about the shamanic cure that was enacted back then, we have visited a practicing Yin-Yang in 2002 and asked for an amulet simulation. We arrived in the shaman's front room as he was engaged in a rite of exorcism by fire.
这就是活着以后就能驱邪。
Afterward, he gladly demonstrated to us how he would have made a suitable amulet for a boy caught up in a similar emergency as Shang Tang was in 1968.
定那个蛟龙水，就这么把手洗一下，手洗了以后，然后封香，香一点以后，漱口，这漱口以后，一般就是这么喷3口。
3 times.
这喷3口，咱就开始了嘛。
你拿着。
这个就是任何一个人都要用这一张，我把这3张纸给弄成了以后，就是。
The first strip translates as follows. This effective amulet hereby orders that by the power of all the sun rays, the 3 demons shall be decapitated. The number 3 here denotes all demons. The second strip says, by wearing this amulet, the bearer will be protected by the god of thunder, with the help of the sun god, moon god, and by the 2 combined, to defeat the horse demons with the help of the sun god, the cattle demons with the help of the moon god, as well as the chariot demons with the help of both of them jointly. And the third strip reads, Thunderous order. Firstly, from the upper seat the Jade Emperor expels the demons and all bad luck under heaven. Secondly, the middle seat protects the body and fortifies the homesteads for all of humankind. Thirdly, the lower seat decapitates the demons and captures malevolent spirits throughout all the lands. The 3 check marks at the top of this strip stand for heaven, earth, and humanity. This shaman belongs to a different tradition than the Longmen, to which the one who treated So Tang in 1968 belonged. So Tang remembers clearly that the amulet that he wore under his armpit for 100 days did invoke the kitchen god of their homestead, along with 2 other deities. This means that gods may be combined into pantheons differently by different shamans, and from one amulet to another. Nevertheless, the inherent logic of all of the amulets implies some tangible and strong prayer. Such a tangible prayer tells the gods in no uncertain terms what kind of cooperation their human representative, the shaman, expects of them.
就是这个呢，以及这个就是后呢，就是要叫他行使权力时间就写个啥指令。
这颁布这个命令。
就叫这个就。整个这么一包，先不封以后，这好比是这现在就是锅头啊，
对，
这就是锅，这么一遍，这么一包以后，锅这么封，这么撩上就对，撩上以后，嘿， 袖子里面，
对，这样。
里面一别，这整个就全过上。对着那49钱或100钱都能，这你随便可以决定，根据他的病的轻重。
对。
这就整个是过这个。
谢谢啊。
谢谢。吃034。
对。
1 year after obtaining our first amulet, an opportunity came to film an amulet demonstration by another shaman for the same type of emergency. This shaman friend volunteered to make an amulet for us after it became clear that Zhang Shotang, during the present lunar year, lived under the watch of the god of death. This bit of information is enough to jolt the imagination, even of a neutral researcher, into asking, might there be such a thing as extra protection? As we expected, the amulet of this shaman invoked a unique trinity of gods as well. His divine helpers include the Tao star, the Buddha, and what he called the 3 founders of Taoism. The first strip of this